Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. Welcome to English grade 9 video lecture series. Students, today, as you know, in the last lecture we talked about the introduction of our new unit. हमने सारे SLOs को review किया. We've gone through that. Today is our very first lecture of this new unit. This is lecture 1, and this learning outcome, this SLO is about vocabulary. This is related to words. कि वर्ड्स के मीनिंग्स कैसे तलाश करें, अपनी वोकैबुलरी को कैसे इंक्रीज करें ताकि कोई भी अनसीन पैसेज आए तो हम उसको क्लियरली समझ लें, ताकि कोई भी वर्ड जो है वो हमें ट्रबल ना करे. नाउ अब हम देखेंगे कि वर्ड्स एंड फ्रेजेस एंड हाउ वी कैन एक्वायर वोकैबुलरी. ऑलराइट. Vocabulary, acquire and use appropriate words and phrases for reading, writing, speaking and listening. For all these 4 competencies, we are going to acquire and use appropriate words. जब हम words की बात करते हैं, we talk about vocabulary. When we are talking about phrases, we are referring to vocabulary. Now, not only in reading, but ये writing में, speaking में and listening में भी helpful हैं. The SLO says, independently gather vocabulary when considering a word or phrase. What if you come across a word or phrase that you have never heard before? क्या करेंगे? Obviously, context clues. हमने बात की थी कि context clues क्या हैं? Those 4 or 5 famous context clues जिनके use करके हम word का meaning पहचान सकते हैं. अब हम उसी की practice करेंगे. This is the extension of that concept. Important for comprehension or expression. So independently gathering vocabulary. Obviously students, जब हम vocabulary की बात करते हैं तो हम vocabulary को increase करने की बात करते हैं. तो किस तरह? Using the resource materials, dictionaries and thesauruses. All right. Here is your vertical linkage. And now let's begin the lesson with a very interesting activity, students. Can you tell me about your favorite words in the English language? Yes. What about Muhammad bin Nadeem? Abiha? Please unmute yourself, participate in the lecture. Can you tell me about your favorite English word? Yes? Sweet. All right. What about you? What about Aman? Yes? Beautiful, which is an adjective, right? All right. What about you? Aesthetic. That's a very good word choice. And what about Aman? Nature is her favorite word. All right. So we all have our favorite words जिनको हम regularly use करते हैं, which we are familiar with. There are some phrases as well. There are some idioms, some expressions, some proverbs जो हम regularly use करते हैं in our daily conversation. अपनी communication में, writing में भी हम उसको लेकर आते हैं and they become our most used words or favorite words जो हम use करते हैं. What about online Zoom students? What are your favorite words? Yes. आप लोगों को आवाज आ रही है students? I think there's no voice issue, so please speak up. Abiha, what about you?
Sir, there are so many words in English that I like the most.
All right. So what are some of them?
Some of them are aesthetic,
All right.
and essential is my favorite word in
That's a very good
English.
response. तो जो हमारे favorite words हैं, we are familiar with their meanings. किस तरह यूज करना है हमें ये भी पता है. Context का भी हमें knowledge है और हमें उसकी pronunciation का भी idea होता है कि how do you pronounce the word. So obviously in the English language there are so many and thousands of commonly used English words in our daily life. All right. If I tell you about my favorite words, they are conscious. Conscious is my favorite word. Another one is flabbergasted, obsession, acknowledging. So these are my favorite words. So we all have our favorite words, and we should encourage this in ourselves. All right. So why do you think that vocabulary matters? Vocabulary is very much important. When you're talking about reading something for comprehension, you need your good grip on vocabulary. And when we are talking about writing, both formal text or informal text, our vocabulary comes into play. It comes very handy and we can use it with the blink of an eye, right? Okay. So the more words you know, the more clearly and powerfully you will think. And the more ideas you will invite in your mind. Obviously, things have names, things have words. So whenever we are trying to learn new words, when we gather new vocabulary, तो क्या होता है? Our world is open and the mind is open to new ideas, concepts, and new things that we can learn. So vocabulary, gathering vocabulary, students, opens your window and open your heart to new ideas, new things. So this is why vocabulary matters. Okay. All right. There are so many ways of gathering vocabularies. हम notebook पे list बनाते हैं with the Urdu meaning, with English meaning. We use them in our sentences. And when we keep on using it, तो क्या होता है? It becomes part of ourselves and it becomes our habit. And then we can easily recognize the word whenever it is coming in our reading comprehension. All right. So many techniques are there. Some people make journals, some make word walls, just like you can see over here. So you can paste, you can write your and make your word wall just like this. Here we have the word peculiar. It's a rather complicated word to understand. Overtly, advantageous, unnerved. So all these, in this way you can create your word wall. Another thing is using flashcards, जिसको हम अपनी simulation में देखेंगे through a website, that how we can use the cards जिसके ऊपर word है और उसके पीछे on the other side of the card you have the meanings of those words. So you memorize the new vocabulary, new words using flashcards. So there are so many ways, techniques and tips to memorize vocabulary. So clear? All right. So here what we are supposed to do is identify the intended meaning of the following words or phrases used in the text and write their meanings in your notebook. So number one is, and the quality of drinking water is not just bad, it remains worst. So not just bad, it remains worst. So this is a phrase कि बुरा नहीं है, बहुत ही बुरा है, बहुत ही ज्यादा, बुरे से भी नेक्स्ट लेवल ज्यादा. So ये phrase जब हम किसी ऐसी चीज को एक्सप्रेस करेंगे तो we will use it's not just bad, it is worst. मतलब जैसे हम कहते हैं अच्छा नहीं है, बहुत ही ज्यादा अच्छा है. So this is an expression, this is a phrase that we use. One cannot drink it as it is the gateway to hazardous diseases. We are talking about contaminated water. Gateway to hazardous diseases. What do you mean by this? Yes, it will take you to, it's a gateway. ये एक रास्ता है जो आपको खतरनाक बीमारियों की तरफ ले जाएगा. So gateway to hazardous disease. Gateway is showing us the way to what? To different diseases if we drink contaminated water, polluted water. So again, with good vocabulary, अगर हमें hazardous का मतलब पता है, अगर हमें gateway का मतलब पता है, then we can easily crack down कि इस phrase का इस text में क्या मतलब हो सकता है. Next, immediate attention and intervention are essential to rectify this pressing issue and safeguard the well-being of the community. immediate attention. Immediate attention means attention that you have to give immediately. फौरन, बहुत जल्दी आपकी attention, आपकी तवज्जो की जरूरत है. What about the word intervention? क्या हम intervention का मतलब जाने बगैर context के जरिए इसको क्रैक कर सकते हैं? Yes, with context clues. तो to intervene मतलब कि अमल दखल करना, इंटरवेंशन. तो किसमें, इस मसले में हम जितनी जल्दी दखल देंगे, इसको ठीक करेंगे, इसमें इन्वॉल्व होंगे, देन इट वुड बी बेटर. सो इंटरवेंशन मींस मुदाखलत करना, दखल देना, राइट. It is disheartening to see the suffering of our community members. What do you mean by disheartening? दिल दुखाने वाला. This is made up of, root word क्या है हमारा? Heart. Dis means negative, right? ये क्या है? Prefix. Prefix है जो हम अपने root word से पहले यूज करते हैं, उसे हम क्या कहते हैं? Prefix. और जो word, जो group of letters हम अपने root word जो कि यहां heart है, root word के बाद यूज करते हैं, उसे हम क्या कहते हैं? Suffix या postfix. तो disheartening, तो हमें पता चल गया that this means दिल दुखाने वाला, तकलीफ देने वाला. All right. Repeated appeals to local authorities have unfortunately fell on deaf ear. Here is a phrase. I hope that you can see it. Fell on deaf ear. Falling on deaf ear. क्या मतलब हो सकता है इस बात का? जी students, what do you understand by this phrase? No, बहरा हो गया नहीं, इसका मतलब है वो बात सुनी नहीं जा रही, कान पर जूं भी नहीं रेंगती. सुना है आपने उर्दू में? तो repeated appeals to local authorities have unfortunately fell on deaf ears. यानी local authorities से कांटेक्ट किया, उनको मसला बताया, बट उन्होंने अनसुनी कर दी, उन्होंने तवज्जो नहीं दी. ये इसी तरह है जैसे एक बहरे को आप कोई बात करें जो ऑडिबली इम्पेयर्ड है, फिजिकली चैलेंज्ड है, इस हवाले से इट्स लाइक द सेम थिंग, जैसे भैंस के आगे बीन बजाने के मुतरादिफ है. सो फॉलिंग ऑन डेफ ईयर मींस दैट उसका कोई फायदा नहीं, इट वाज नॉट आंसर्ड और अटेंडेड, द इशू वाज नॉट अटेंडेड. तो फॉलिंग ऑन डेफ ईयर, इस फ्रेज को आप अपनी डेली लाइफ में भी यूज कर सकते हैं. एंड just by looking at the surface level of the word, the phrase, you can understand that what the author is talking about. All right. Now, here I have highlighted some words for you, like look after, probable, on the contrary, superiority, और क्या लफ्ज है? तो ये वो वर्ड्स हैं, फ्रेजेस हैं जो कि थोड़े से चैलेंजिंग हैं. हम क्या करेंगे? When we are reading this text, this is about dolphins. So we are talking about some characteristics of dolphins. So look after. Look after का क्या मतलब है? To take care of. Looking after somebody, looking after someone or something. Probable means having a chance, probability, superiority. All right, to be superior, ये इसका मतलब है. On the contrary, what do you mean by this thing? This is also a transitional device. On the contrary, जिसे हम उर्दू में कहते हैं इसके बरक्स. On the other hand, on the opposite, in opposition, on the contrary. On the contrary means contrast. Contrast किसे कहते हैं? Opposite. On the contrast, on the contrary. So this is what you mean by that. So whenever you're reading such kind of text, to answer some questions, to understand it completely, you are actually supposed to understand the difficult word and phrases, and we need to acquire our vocabulary. एक तो हम डायरेक्ट उस टेक्स्ट से स्टूडेंट्स with context clues हम vocabulary को समझ सकते हैं, and the other thing is that we consult our dictionary and make a list and then memorize it using flashcards, making a word wall, etc. So whenever you are facing these kind of challenges, you have to read the passage again, try to understand the context, and then understand the meaning of the words and phrases. Here is another one. The majestic Himalayas, a towering chain of mountains, stretch across several countries in Asia. These snow-capped peaks, often referred to as the roof of the world, are home to diverse flora and fauna, including rare species like the elusive snow leopard. The Himalayas are also a significant source of water for millions of people in the region, as numerous rivers originate from their glaciers. Despite their beauty and importance, the Himalayas face numerous challenges, including climate change, deforestation, and pollution, which threaten their fragile ecosystems. So, how many words did we find? This is about Himalayas, a range of mountains. Snow-capped means स्नो से भरा हुआ, बर्फ से ढका हुआ, बर्फ से भरा हुआ. Elusive, what do you mean by elusive? हमने वर्ड सुना है exclusive. Elusive is the opposite of exclusive. It means elusive snow leopard. Snow leopard, they are endangered species. They are not seen everywhere, so they are elusive. They are less. What about this one? Fragile. Yes. Not very common. Fragile. What do you mean by fragile?
Excuse me, sir. Exclusive.
Yes. Exclusive, which is
Sir,
more.
what is exclusive?
All right. I'm having trouble hearing you. Fragile. Fragile means weak. So अब इस तरह के words हैं. पहले हम context clues दिखाएंगे, like context clues of example, synonym, antonym, and definition. यही हमने context clues पढ़े थे, and this is how we understand it through the text. And the other thing is that you look it up in the dictionary. Simple. And then you reread the passage and understand it again. All right. Here now we have a website which we are going to log into right now. Here is a website called vocabulary.com. It's very helpful. You can access it easily. It's free, and you can find so many different exercises, activities to gather new vocabulary with context. Because learning vocabulary without context is not very efficient. Vocabulary को context के साथ सीखना, new words को, phrases को ज़्यादा effective है. अगर आप words लें और उनके meanings याद करें, that is not efficient. तो क्या करना है? आपको उसकी utilize करना है. And you have to see how the phrase or the word is working practically with the context. All right. Here, these are some flashcards, as you can see. Pronunciation is also given.
Accumulate.
Both American and British pronunciation. If you click the flashcard, accumulate means gather or get together. Get or gather together. To make something together. That means accumulate. Now, go on to the next flashcard. Acquire.
Acquire. Acquire.
Acquire.
Acquire.
Acquire. The pronunciation of both American and British, they are the same. Click करेंगे. Acquire means it's a verb. V stands for verb. Come into the possession of something concrete or abstract. This is what you mean by acquire. I acquired a new skill. Now, bestow means give as a gift. The God has bestowed so many gifts for us. So giving as a gift is called bestow. So now you can see that when you log in, you are going to find so many different kinds of flashcards. फिर वो आपसे उसी के बारे में टेस्ट जनरेट करेगा and then you can learn new vocabulary. So this simulation website, this link is given in the PPT itself. You can access it. Now coming back to our PowerPoint. Yes. Now here is a worksheet attached with the resources. क्या करना है आपने? That you have to find the definitions. Choose the answer choice that best defines the word in capital letters. Numerous. Numerous means large, small, few, or many. Many. So many numbers. There are numerous objects laying on the floor. तो इसी तरह आप ये वर्कशीट को सॉल्व करेंगे to learn new vocabulary. You're going to make a list of your own on your journal with the English meaning, English definition. You can also write Urdu definition as well. And then you have to write 1 or 2 sentences using the word in context. अगर एक word 2 context में use हो रहा है तो आप उन दोनों sentences को लिखेंगे. Alright, for the homework, learn at least 10 new words. This is your task. Learn 10 new words like the word accumulate, acquire, objectify. इस तरह के words सीखेंगे and we will use them in our sentences according to the context. So this is your homework. We have your worksheet, skill sheet and presentation as well. Can we move on to the question bank? Alright students, so is the SLO clear? Acquire new vocabulary, gather vocabulary independently with your effort obviously. You can make a notebook dedicated for vocabulary only with meanings, with definitions so that when next time that word comes up, it is easy for you to crack it. Alright, here is your question bank that you're going to solve. The word reticent is closest in meaning to what? Here are some more questions. The opposite of tenacious, or in the sentence, the evanescent beauty of the sunset faded quickly. Evanescent most likely means what? Lasting, fleeting, brilliant, या colorful. Now, yes. What do you think? Context clue कौन सा use करेंगे आप? जी students. The evanescent beauty of the sunset faded quickly. क्या चीज है जो जल्दी से fade away हो जाती है? Obviously, when the sun is about to set.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Lasting,
fleeting, brilliant, या colorful.
lasting or fleeting?
Okay, if it is
No,
lasting,
sorry.
if it is lasting, then how did it fade quickly? Fleeting, brilliant, colorful.
Colorful beauty of the sunset.
Colorful is a very good option.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. All right. So there can be multiple options that are correct. Yes, but we are going to choose only the closest one. जो सबसे closest meaning होगा उसका हम वो choose करेंगे according to the context. इसी तरह you have figurative language. The phrase a mountain of homework. I have given a mountain of homework today. What do you mean by mountain of homework? ये क्या है?
Personification.
Is it exaggeration? Is it personification? Metaphor या simile?
Hyperbole.
Yes, this is exaggeration. Mountain of homework. Mountain is so big. Homework is maybe like 2 pages, which you find much more. So you can say that this is a hyperbole. Let's talk about the root word. The word bibliophile. What do you mean by this? Yes. अच्छा, इसका अगर हम word लें Bibliophile, the root word is phil. Phil means love. Bibliophile is a person who love books, love reading books. That we call them bibliophiles. Now you have your word families. The word benefactor is related to what? Benefit, benefactor, beneficial, or all of the above. Yes, all of the options are falling in the right place. All right, so we have words that are having multiple meanings, जैसे homophones या homographs, words that are sounding and spelling the same but they have different meanings. The word bank can have multiple meanings. Which of the following is not a common meaning of bank? अब हमने देखना है कि कौन सा मीनिंग जो है वो बैंक के लिए यहां पे इस्तेमाल नहीं होगा. Yes. A group of people sitting in rows, raised edge of a river or lake. We know there is a bank of river. Bank of river होता है. Financial institution, which is a bank where you withdraw money, you invest money. Type of fish. Group of people sitting in rows. So,
Option
yeah.
B.
Option B. Which of the following is not a common meaning?
Option B.
Yes, group of people sitting in rows or a type of
Option
fish.
B.
All right.
Sir, is a bank is a collective noun or not?
All right, let's talk about vocabulary in context. In the sentence, the dilapidated building was in need of repair. The word dilapidated most likely means luxurious, modern, run down या expensive. Dilapidated meaning, dilapidated building was in need of repair. Building को repairment की जरूरत है. क्यों? क्या वो बहुत अच्छी है इसलिए रिपेयर की जरूरत है? No. इसका मतलब है there is something wrong with the building. Run down means खराब होना, जो कि अपने वक्त से ज्यादा टाइम गुजार चुकी है. Now it needs repair. So run down is the right option. Let's talk about formation of words where we have affixes, prefixes and suffixes जो हम अपने root word के पहले और बाद में respectively लगाते हैं. Does not end in the suffix able. Enjoyable, readable, changeable or forget.
Forget.
Yes. Which of the following words does not end in the suffix able? Obviously forget. And lastly, which of the following is a good strategy for building vocabulary? What do you think? Reading widely, keeping a vocabulary journal, using a dictionary, or all of them?
All of them.
Yes, all of these strategies are important for gathering your vocabulary. That's all about today's lecture. We have gone through the question bank as well. You'll have your skill sheet and worksheets to solve. To time to solve them is by the next lecture, where you have to come prepared with your worksheets. You can send it in the group as well. That's all about today's lecture, students. I hope that you have understood the learning outcome and you will work on your vocabulary, learning new words using context clues and the simulation that we have gone through as well. So if you have any kind of question right away, you can ask it before we wrap up the lecture. Yes.
सर हमने अभी एक एमसीक्यूज किया था जिसमें एक वर्ड आया था बैंक, तो वहां पे ये भी लिखा हुआ था कि अगर बहुत से लोग एक रो में बैठे हैं तो उस एक ऑप्शन था, तो बैंक कोई कलेक्टिव नाउन है या नहीं है?
No, we actually call them a group. तो बैंक लोगों के लिए जो ज्यादा तादाद में बैठे हैं वो यूज नहीं किया जाता. इट इज यूज्ड फॉर बैंक ऑफ रिवर या फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन जिसको हम बैंक कहते हैं. ठीक है. थैंक यू. अल्लाह हाफिज.